Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Star Wars is back on the big screen with The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Gangsters, war criminals. I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
On May 22nd, feel the Force on the biggest screen possible.
The old protect the young, and the young protect the old. This is the way.
Buckle up.
Always wear your seatbelt.
The Mandalorian and Grogu. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters May 22nd. Get tickets now.
Welcome to DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn, a unique blend of hunting, fishing, wildlife conservation, and the outdoor lifestyle. DSC's Campfires is brought to you by DSC, Conservation, Education, and Advocacy. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Taurus, award-winning revolvers and pistols. Stealth Vision, high-tech, precision-driven equipment for today's modern hunter. Red 55 Winery, signature wines from Emmy Award-winning country artist Miranda Lambert, owned by Rick and Beverly Lambert. And the Choctaw Hunting Lodge, home of some of the finest hunting in North America. Now, here's Larry.
Mr. Cyle Foley, welcome to the campfire once again, the DSC campfire. Last time we had a chance to visit, I was up with you and Craig Archer and way up in the lower end of the panhandle of Texas hunting whitetail deer, and we were talking about shotguns at the time, but really didn't have the time to spend. So I know you're very involved in so many different shotgun sports and shotguns themselves. So I'm here to learn something. Tell me something about your shotgun experiences and really kind of what got you into shotguns.
Well, it's kind of funny how my path got there. I was invited. I started shooting shotguns as a kid.
Right.
Doves and quail and everything. Growing up in Teresa Springs, as you know, my family they're kind of big into hunting. They really like it, and we kind of eat the animals too. So
yes, sir.
It's kind of one of those things. It's a family event, but I really didn't start competing until around 2015. I got invited to go to a charity shoot by some clients, and I went, and
yes,
I just got absolutely hooked on sporting clays. I've shot some trap and skeet, a little here and there, but I have ADHD really bad. So sometimes I can't focus well enough, so I wasn't ever really any good at those. So, but sporting clays, and I'm not claiming to be a world champion at anything, I promise you that, but I do love the sport. I was on the Texas State board for about 4 years, kind of guiding the direction it was going in with a group of excellent people.
Yes,
and
sir.
Then I moved up here to Dallas from Goliad and got offered an instructor job at Dallas Gun Club.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got certified about 5 years ago, and then I've been coaching there ever since. And it's been a wonderful time through all this. You meet some of the most amazing people in all forms of hunting. You meet some really great people. But in the shotgun world, you kind of get to see a lot of the same people a lot of times, and you get to develop these friendships. And these people are just awesome. I mean, if I've ever had anything happen where my firearms broke or something like that, someone's always been willing to help. I mean, from loaning you a gun to helping you fix it right there on the spot to whatever needs to be done to get you back up and rolling again. And
now you mentioned sporting clays. I mean, a lot of folks are very familiar with sporting clays. You mentioned too, and I knew this to be a fact, that you're an instructor. Let's say somebody is not into shotgunning at the moment, but they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
What's your advice as far as, there's all kinds of shotguns. I mean, we're talking about everything from single shots to over-unders to side-by-sides to, pump action to semi-autos to all those kinds. Somebody wants to get into, say, starting with sporting clays, because they can do that year-round as opposed to maybe hunting waterfowl or duck or quail or whatever. What would you recommend to somebody in terms of the shotgun?
Well, it's determined by the level of participation you want to be in. Are you going to go out and shoot charity events every, once a month or once every couple months? Are you going to be involved at the local level where you're shooting, local tournaments in the NSCA, the National Sporting Clays Association? If you're shooting those registered tournaments, if you're shooting those once a month, all over through, that's another level. And then if you're going to be traveling internationally and really getting out there, there's a different level for that too. So generally speaking, most people see everybody shooting an over and under, which are great. Over and unders are great guns to shoot with. There's less moving parts. There's if you buy a good quality one, you take care of it, it'll take care of you. But really and truthfully, most people can get by. If you're just going to go shoot some charity tournaments or shoot locally, every once in a while, you can get by with your hunting shotgun, whatever you hunt with. It doesn't matter if it's a 20 gauge or 12 gauge or semi-auto or over and under. I wouldn't recommend a single shot because some of these doubles can be pretty prickly if you try to shoot and load at the same time. I wish I could say that I was that fast, but I just don't think you could do that without some creative movie editing, and I don't think they'll allow that. But, but most of my students that I get in that are young kids that we don't know, are they going to take to the sport or not?
Right.
I usually recommend a semi-auto shotgun that they, that it's, for a lot of reasons. One's less recoil. Two, you can see a lot better around the gun. It makes it a little easier. And three, it's got one barrel. It's got one choke. It's got, it takes a lot of guesswork out of the game. So it's just, that's what I recommend. You got to determine if you're going to travel internationally, you still can shoot a semi-auto, but it's going to change which one you buy.
Yes.
Most of the ones you can pick up for, like I said, you can go pick up a shotgun for anywhere, a semi-auto from anywhere between $800 and $1,500 that will do everything you need to do. And if you're competing, it'll do that too. And so, whether it's a Mossberg or a Beretta or whatever it is you choose, you pick out. The main thing is finding one that fits you. That's the big deal.
Yes. And how do you go about doing that?
There's some places there'll be a person there that can help you fit the gun to you. I know that certain shotguns come with little shims and things like that you can put in the gun to raise to move the cast and the drop, and then you can also change the pitch and everything else. And the people don't realize is getting a shotgun that fits you does a bunch of different things. One, it shoots where you look. That's a big deal.
Yes. And
two, it mitigates more recoil. The pitch of the gun helps determine the amount of recoil you're going to feel. Now, that doesn't mean it takes it out. It just means how much you feel.
Right.
So, and if you're balled up on the gun trying to, manipulate your head to get to the gun to where you can look down it, automatically you're at a disadvantage because you're uncomfortable. And so what that does, it puts a lot of stress and strain on your, and I'm not going to try to get too deep in the woods here, but try to just kind of give you an understanding. If you see someone who's bunched up on the gun, they got their head jammed into the stock, you look at their arms, they're gripping that thing. They're so tight. And as soon as the bird's thrown, they're automatically at a disadvantage because their fast twitch muscles are already bound up. So they can't get started. So they automatically start slower and engage the target slower. So,
and a lot of times you do not have a whole lot of time to make adjustments, do you, once that bird is released? No,
you really don't. You know, and it tell you the thing is, you know, if you can go spend a couple of hours, if you're not real super serious about it, but you know, I know these lessons sound expensive and everything else, but these guys that are out there that are NSC instructors or club pros or whatever they are, they can help you so much in a couple of hours to get you going down the path that it's unreal. And you know, there's a lot of different philosophies. A lot of people teach a lot of different ways and all this stuff, but it all comes down to the same thing. You know, are your mechanics sound and can you see? Basically, that's your gun fit and your mechanics. And if you can master those two things, man, you'd be surprised how easy it is to break these targets.
Like if it's like, okay, it's a father and son, daughter and father, or mother and kind of thing. Would you recommend this, between just asking, you know, would you recommend that the father be the person who tries to teach them how to shoot, or would it be better to?
You want to hear it? I can tell you how this usually goes with my students.
Yes.
I can sit there and listen to dad tell the kid, your whole point's too far out. Your whole point's too far out. Your whole point's too far out. And he won't change a thing. And I'll walk by and say, hey, man, you might want to change your whole point. And he'll look at you. Is it too far out? You go, yeah. Okay. And husband and wives are the same. I've had some females that are in the sport that shoot amazing. I mean, can just lights out. And
right.
And they'll give the husband some instruction. It's the same thing. He won't listen. I mean, you've got your wife is a state champion shooter, and you're not going to listen to her? Come on, man, really? You know?
I think there's a certain amount of human nature involved in that. And that's one of the reasons I ask, because I've been around, of course, a long time, and I've watched a lot of different, whether it's, and not so much in the shotgun thing. I mean, I do shoot a shotgun, but it is so occasional compared to what I do with rifles and handguns and all the other kind of thing. But I have been around people, and, you know, and my gosh, I've almost seen fathers destroy the will of, you know, their youngster to shoot kind of thing, because, you know, they get frustrated, and both of them get frustrated. Where at the same time, if that child had been in the care of somebody that really knows how to shoot, not to say that mom and dad don't know how to shoot, but it just seemed like to me that in every instance where I've seen it, it's worked out so much better. And next thing you know, that child is shooting better than mom or dad is. Oh, yeah. Kids pick it up so fast. They really do. So there's a study that goes along with this. It's like, how many times does it take, how many repetitions does it take for, you know, someone who's 13 to 18 to learn something versus someone who's, you know, 50 to 60. Right. You know, and there's like, you know, it takes them 500 times, and it takes the guy 50 to 60, 10,000. You know, I'm putting that number as an exaggeration, but it is quite a big jump. Yes, sir. And because you just don't have the wiring that the kids have. Plus, here's the other thing. What we tend to forget is adults have adult problems, right? You got work, you've got
what's for dinner? Oh man,
yes,
I forgot that the sprinkler system's broke. Or, you got all these things on your head.
Exactly.
And if you don't think that stress doesn't transfer over into a shoot, it does. It does. It follows you everywhere you go. And kids, they're thinking about, well, Jimmy likes purple ice cream. Their thoughts aren't as hard to deal with. Now they've got, their own little deals with teenage angst and everything else, but it's not where's my next meal coming from kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And you take them to shoot, little flower pots out of the sky, and they can do it, with super easy because they don't have anything to worry about. But here's the other side to that too. Those kids, they're, and when it comes down, so there's two different, let me define something for you. There's two different types of things. There's an instructor and there's a coach. And I do both of those things.
Okay.
So if you hire me to teach you how to shoot certain targets, I'm going to instruct you on how to shoot those targets. And that's all I'm going to do because that's all you want me to do. If you hire me to be your coach, that's a whole different story. We're going to talk about a lot more things than just, where to put the gun and how to move it to get there. We're going to talk about just the whole philosophy behind it and why you're doing what you're doing. So when I tell kids, I always tell kids if their dad's telling them all the right information, I will always tell those kids, you need to listen to your dad. He's telling you everything that I'm telling you, and you should listen to him. You got to remember your dad's spending money for you to do this, and if he says something and you should listen and give it a try and see if it works. And I mean, don't give it a half-hearted try. I mean, commit to the try.
Right.
And that tends to get them to understand that they'll tend to listen to their dad or their mom or their sister. I mean, I've had brothers that could coach each other. I mean, I just sat back and pushed a button sometimes. Here you go. You guys are tearing it up over here. But that's really good because that's what when I'm coaching, that's what I want my students to do. I want them to be able to assess what they've done wrong to miss a target and so they can fix it. Because I can't be there with them when they're shooting a competition.
No.
So, yeah. So this shooting stuff's a lot of fun. And I'm telling you, you will meet some great people and eat some killer food. And if you travel, you'll get a perspective of a part of the country you don't get. I mean, there's some amazingly beautiful clubs up in Wisconsin, and Montana's they got a club up there at Gallatin in Montana where they throw some of the clays out of old gold mines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like you're standing on one side of a canyon, and on the other side they throw a clay out of a tunnel out of a tunnel that used to be a gold mine. It's very interesting and creative. And then you go out to Arizona and there's absolutely nothing. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. There's just nothing for you to get a landmark on, and so you really have to work to shoot those targets. Because there's nothing it's hard to tell how far they are, first off. And number two, you don't have something to mark. Okay, well, that bird comes out by that big oak tree out there. You don't have that. So it's all different. Everything's different. You shoot the Midwest, there's a lot of wind, and you shoot East Texas, and there's a lot of trees and shadows and things like that. It's a lot of fun. Traveling, and you get to see a lot of the same people traveling over and over, and you get to be really good friends from it.
The sporting clay thing is really interesting because to me it's so very closely related to hunting situations that you get into, and everything from the birds coming at you to over your head, left, right, the rabbit thing, which I have never yet learned to master, I don't think, because every time I think I got it figured out where it's going to jump or where it's going to bounce, it doesn't do anything like that. It goes the opposite way or totally different from that. But the sporting clay thing, and there's sporting clay ranges set up pretty much all over North America, aren't there? As you just kind of mentioned.
They're I mean, you can shoot in Hawaii, Alaska. I mean, yeah, they're everywhere. And most of them will have a little camping site on them that you can call, or they're near a campsite. You know, you
Right.
have a lot of small, little mom and pop ranges that do an amazing job at throwing some really good targets that are fun. And then you have some of the big lodges that offer bird hunting and stuff also that,
yes,
that you can go and do. You know, at Dallas Gun Club, we have trap and skeet and bunker, which is kind of rare, a rarity in America, because that's the Olympic sport, bunker trap. And then we have 5-stand, which is kind of like sporting clays, but you rotate through 5 little stands, and they're all right next to each other. You wouldn't think it changed that much, but man, it really does. And then we got 3 sporting clay courses, and we've got 2 Halise fields that are open all the time. It's you can just about shoot every every clay game there is there at Dallas Gun Club, and it's a lot of fun. But just across the United States, I mean, I don't think there's a state I've been in that doesn't have a sporting clays course.
Right.
In it.
Yeah, some of the ones I've been to over the years with the different gun companies and that kind of thing are absolutely beautiful areas to begin with. I want to come back to one other thing. We were talking about introducing people to, when you and I were youngsters, and a lot of times in between, the first shotgun that mom and dad gave somebody was generally a 410. Right. What do you think somebody these days, if they're going to get into, ammo's changed so much. We've got so many different kind of opportunities with different screw-ins, chokes, and all that kind of thing. And if you could buy your youngsters, let's say he's a 6, 7, 8-year-old, or even younger in Texas. We started younger in Texas a lot of times. Yeah. Or young ladies.
I've seen some. It's like, whoa, where's the bobble at? It's strapped to the side. They got a bottle strapped to the side of the stock for them.
Kind of as an accessory there.
Yeah.
but in those kind of situations, what not necessarily semi-auto or whatever, but what gauge would you recommend most people should get their child for their first shotgun?
So it all comes down to the child.
Right.
What can they, so if they can hold up a 12 gauge and shoot it and hold it up, I would suggest go ahead and getting the 12 gauge. Your ammunition is going to be cheaper. You can get some lower recoil stuff by shooting 7/8 ounce.
Right.
There's a lot of things you can do to mitigate I've been using that word too much. You can change the amount of recoil you have whenever you just by changing the shell you use. Even if it's a 1 ounce, even if it's just a 1 ounce shell from 15 different manufacturers, one of them they're all going to have different recoil because all the powder blends are different, and some of them burn a little hotter, a little faster, and that gives you a real sharp kick, and some of them extend that burn time out, and that gives you that nice little push. I don't know if you know this, but I sold ammunition for a couple of years, and so I've learned all this stuff. It's pretty neat to understand the physics behind it. But if you go to a 20 gauge, if you look at the shell, you're going to get a 20 gauge shell, and say we'll just call it a 1 ounce shell, mostly 7/8, but you're going to get a 7/8 shell that's anywhere between 1150 and 1250, let's say, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've got this nice light little gun, and it's compact and short, and your kid can pick it up and swing it great and everything else, and then he pulls the trigger and it just wallops the fire out of it.
Right.
And it's just because you haven't done anything different other than you changed the diameter of the pipe that the shell comes out, the shot comes out of.
Mm-hmm.
But you still got, you're still shooting a 7/8 ounce, 1,200 feet per second shell. It's just in a smaller, lighter, more compact firearm.
Right.
So I try to tell people, if you can get away with getting a 12 gauge semi-auto, that's what I would start with. And then that way you don't ever have to buy another gun. Your shells are relatively inexpensive comparatively. Because if you start shooting 28 gauge and 410 and all that stuff, once you get below 20 gauge, you're starting to give them at a disadvantage to everybody else.
Yes.
So, I mean, the 28 gauge is the most efficient gauge there is as far as, powder and shot and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still going to be, there's still going to be less pellets in that shell than there is in any of the other ones besides the 410.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I was going with all that is, like I said, I've seen parents buy a 410 and thinking, well, the recoil's less, and this kind of thing. And to me, the 410, when you get right down to it, when shooting the shotgun, regardless whether it's clay birds or whether it's live birds, you have to be really proficient with that thing and to be able to knock that bird down or to break that clay. And where with that 12 gauge or even 28 gauge, to me, it seemed like you got many more pellets going out there, and it's going to be more satisfying because whoever's shooting is going to be able to hit something periodically. If they don't hit every one of them with proper instruction, I mean, I'll shoot I've got a 410 and over under that I love to shoot. I'm not very good with it, but if I miss, I can say, oh, well, I'm shooting a 410. I wouldn't shoot a 20 gauge or 12 gauge like you were, kind of thing. So, there's some of that.
You're launching pencils at them is basically what you're doing with a 410. It's a little tiny shot string,
Exactly.
But I'll tell you, there's nothing more satisfying than just going out and taking a bunch of quail with a 410.
Oh my, I agree.
So, because you've done something that day. When you've done that, you've done something. You can be proud.
Yes, you have, and you should be. Talking about let's switch horses with you here a little bit very quickly while we got the opportunity. You're talking about being proud. Now, there is a publication that you made me aware of. It's called Wing and Clay Life. And
yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, that is, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a huge fan of Sporting Classics magazine. I think it's one of the most fantastic publications in the outdoors there is. But from a shotgun perspective, Wing and Clay Life is the Sporting Classics as far as shotgunning, as far as I'm concerned. Tell me a little bit about that publication, or tell everybody about that publication.
That publication is part of a media group that I'm a part of with a guy named Matt Gay and his wife Cheryl Gay. And we, these magazines we obtained the ownership of a couple of years ago, and we've been driving them to be the premier type magazines in the hunting industry. And so we don't produce something that's cheap. It's the paper's nice, the articles are well written. We don't tell our writers you can't write like that. You have to write like this. We let them write their style.
Right.
So that tends to be more of a personal feeling and more of a more like you're sitting around a campfire talking to somebody.
Exactly.
And we have contributors from each thing that we know or experts in their field. We have chefs that throw some recipes our way, and we have a deal called Coach's Corner, which is a bunch of different coaches that contribute to that and kind of talk about different things and why you do the things you do. We have people who do gun reviews and things of that nature, and we talk about the gun, the goods and the bads, and they're honest. The writer doesn't have anything to lose. It's, the magazine ourselves. If we have somebody that's a sponsor of us, and they turn, and one of our writers turns in a magazine article, we just publish the article. So it's always truthful. It's more fact based, and it's just a change, a breath of fresh air as far as the way shotgun magazines used to be written back in the day. They were not really stories. They were just, I took this gun was great, and we killed all this stuff.
Right.
It didn't tell you about the adventure. That's the part of the hunt that that's what you talk about. You know, that's the part of the
Exactly.
hunt that everybody should understand. It's like, man, when you're sitting around the campfire with a bunch of guys talking and smoking cigars or whatever you're doing, and then, you know, the time the Jeep got stuck and you all had to get out and it started going and covered everybody with mud, and, you know, all those fun times, you know, the good times, you know, that you don't think about. That's what articles are about. It's making you feel like you were along for the hunt, and now you can almost feel that shotgun going off in your hand as you're standing next to Larry Weishuhn on a desert blue quail hunt in Van Horn, Texas. You know,
I'm looking very quickly, trying to find the story. I can't find it right now in the magazine, but you talk about that, but I swear I could smell the gunpowder, burnt gunpowder, as that one guy was writing about it. You know, I'm sitting in my office, and there's not I've got guns in there, but
we don't put any limitations on those guys. And like, we have some writers, like we have a guy named Gary Fitzgerald who writes straight from the heart. If you ever want to know his opinion, trust me, he'll tell you it.
Yes,
he has no problem telling you how he thinks. You know, Matt writes some incredible articles. All of us, we're not only published a magazine, but we all contribute to it too, because we're all passionate about the hunting and conservation and you know, the utilization of the product post hunt. Like, we give you everything from here's how to get this hunt, here's how to do this hunt, here's what you need to bring, and here's how you cook what you got.
Exactly. And I mean, in the ones that I've looked at, and that you've graciously sent me, I've gone through the recipe things, and I want to come back to that just a little bit as well too. I'm very impressed with the photography that you have and the stories that you have. There's one in here. I'm just looking at this. I can try and remember which this is, but it's My Old Gun, and it's My Old Guns, and it talks about the Salvo lines with Patterson, and I mean, there's so it is wing and clay, but there's also a few other things in here, and the great message in here. You know, in dealing, there's one I looked at not very long ago, but there's one that's clear title called "The Message of Conservation." And so you guys cover so many different great topics, and it's written, and we were talking about gun fitting, and I'm looking at one right now. I think this is, it's called Gun Fitting, and I think it's volume, I have to look at it here, journal number 11. So, but, oh my God.
Who wrote that one? It wasn't my gun fitting article, was it?
This one, Gun Fitting, it was John Caffey.
Oh, John Caffey, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wrote one that was for kids, and I think he went more in depth into his. But John, that's an excellent article.
Yes, sir. I just haven't opened it.
It's a big deal.
Well, as you were mentioning, it can make so much difference, you know, in terms of felt recoil. When you were talking about the positioning of the face, you know, relative to the closeness maybe to the action, I was thinking the same thing as far as shooting rifles. You know, if you're shooting rifles and you're crawling up on that stock rather than in a more natural position, I mean, you're going to get the devil kicked out of you, even if it's a rifle that doesn't have a whole lot of recoil. So all that makes so much is so very important. Let's talk a little bit about the recipes. Now, when I was at
you don't love to talk about food, don't you?
Well, I love to eat your food.
Thank you. I love cooking it for you.
I was with Kyle and Craig Archer and on some property up there in North Texas, and I found myself, I love the hunting. The hunting was fantastic. The deer were out of this world good, but I found myself there sitting there. Okay, oh God, what's Kyle gonna have for lunch? What kind of cookies is he making? What kind of pastries is he making? Kind of thing. And you have a passion for cooking, and not only is it a passion, you know how to make it happen. I mean, it is out of this world food that you prepare. We've talked about this in the past a little bit, but I want to go back to what got you interested in doing particularly the camp cooking type of thing that you do.
Well, it always goes back to when you're a kid. The
Yes,
things
sir.
you remember from when you were a kid. Now, we didn't, when we went hunting, and if we weren't hunting, around home where we just came home to eat, the men did all the cooking. And
Right.
it was always, they always had something up their sleeve. It's like
Yes,
you just
sir.
never knew what you were going to get.
Right.
And it may be fajitas, it may be, regular ground beef tacos, or it may be chicken fried steak, or it may be, but these guys are cooking for, anywhere from 8 to 10 people. And
Right. Yes, sir.
they got to make it right, or else they're going to be in trouble, And so you got the best of the best from them, and you learn some things. These guys that's the first place I learned how to make a chicken fried. They made a chicken fried venison steak with Ritz crackers as the breading. And
Yes, sir.
It changed the game for me right there. There was a guy that taught me how to cook goose breast, and the people who we told we eat goose breast, they're like, oh, they always turn their nose up. And we made a whole bunch and told them it was deer backstrap, and they ate it until the bucket was empty before we told them it was goose, and they died. They had no idea.
No.
Turkey's another one. The wild turkey people just turn their nose up at it. It's like, dude, that's some good stuff.
Oh man, it is.
We take ours and we breast it out, and then I save the legs and the wings and stuff like that to make dirty rice out of.
Yes,
and
sir.
then the breast I'll coat it in, like, there's sometimes I use honey mustard, and sometimes I use Miracle Whip or whatever, and then I smoke it like that with that on there. When it comes out, it's just as tender and juicy, and it doesn't.
Gosh, yes.
And you would be surprised. Miracle Whip has no flavor after you cook it for some reason. It's pretty cool. But yeah, all that stuff. It's all about learning from what you had in the past and bringing that forward. And I have yet to make you one of those peach cobblers out of the Dutch oven, but I will next time you're up there.
I tell you what, I'll be back up there. Craig and I were talking about my coming back up again this fall, so we're going to coordinate.
Oh, good.
I'll tell them the only reason only way and the only reason I'm coming up is so I can teach your cooking while I'm there. So.
And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Like the guys that I hunted with when I got into my 20s. We didn't have a whole lot of money.
Right.
But, everybody would bring something to pitch in, like you bring the tortillas and the tomatoes and cheese, and I'll bring the meat and the whatever. And, we made it really simple. It's, just regular, just tacos or enchiladas are really easy to make before you go out there. You make a tray full of them, freeze them, cover them with tinfoil, freeze them, and then you take them out there and you heat them up in the oven, and they're done and they're ready to go. Lasagnas are real good things. Anything that you can do is in a casserole form. That's a good thing to have. Now,
oh yes,
is it going to be, is it always going to be great if you ate 5 casseroles while you're at a camp with me? No, probably not, because I'm not going to be satisfied with that. So what I'm going to do is in fact, I try not to make any type of casserole. I try to make you something that you're going to get your teeth into and you're going to eat until you're
yes, sir,
until you're smiling.
With your cooking, all I needed to do is take that first taste, and I was smiling because it's so darn good. And one of the things we talked about.
I appreciate that.
No, I'm just telling the truth. One of the things we talked about when I was out there when we were hunting together is, sometimes you get in a hunting camp and there's not a whole lot there. But being able to put together a fantastic meal with whatever you can find, that to me sometimes it makes for some of the best cooking and some of the most fun and sometimes some of the most delicious meals. And you had a lot of different things out there that you had pre-planned, but we also got the situation where, well, you were just putting some things together that you found that were just out of this world good.
Mm-hmm. You know, that comes from back when I was in college. I didn't have much money. You know, you open the cabinet and you got a banana, a 9-iron, and a piece of breakfast sausage. You got to make do with it, you know. But the other thing was too, I had a guy that was a chef that was my roommate for a while.
Oh, Lordy, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that guy taught me. What he taught me was, he didn't teach me how to make dishes. He taught me how to figure out what went together. Right. So, you know, obviously you don't put bananas in your black beans, you know. That's not a good idea. I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would taste very good, but I guess you could. But you do learn that, like, you know, when do you use unsalted butter versus salted butter? What do you do with this spice and that spice, and what do you? It's like we were talking about cooking quail, and I was like, they take spice very well, you know, and that's one of the, you know, one of the birds, like pheasant, chukar, and quail. If you can pretty much put any type of spice on there you want, and they'll take it pretty well. You know,
yes, sir.
It's easy to overspice them, but it's also easy to bring a whole different flavor out in them if you just change your spice profile a little bit. So, you know, you can go eat the same meat, the same type of meat. Like, say you're eating steak, you can serve steak every night, and every one of them will taste different because of the way you season it. You know, so that's the thing that he taught was, hey, you know, knowing what you have in the counter and what you've got here, you better be able to figure out, like, you don't want to put sage on fish, you know.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't go very well, you know. But sage, put a little sage on like I say, a little sage on a quail, and it just changes it all up. It's just a whole different deal. But you know, yeah. And my favorite one though, we got together. We did pork chops, and we took jalapeno jelly, and we crystallized or caramelized the jalapeno jelly onto the pork chops. And oh man, it was so good.
That sounds delicious. Actually, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was so good. We served that with some regular old pinto beans and mashed sweet potatoes. And it was, man, wow, it was a good meal.
You're making me drool here, sir.
I know it's only 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning too. I'm gonna have to go cook after this, Larry.
Wait a minute. I can be there in about 4 hours. So
actually, if you want to know the truth, you're not that far from me right now. You're only 50 miles from me right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually in College Station, Texas, right now.
Oh, well, then I'm only about 30 miles away from you right now.
Well, actually, I'm outside of Navasota, so you're really actually a lot closer.
Yes, sir. I'll be darned. Well, welcome to our part of the world out here right now. So,
yeah.
Cyle, y'all are still doing your is it TBA Outfitters?
TBD
TBD,
outdoors.
yeah, TBD, not
TBD Outdoors, yes, sir.
TBD Outdoors.
To be determined outdoors.
I got tickled because initially we were talking about, you know, what are you guys naming this? You know, you kind of looked around, y'all named it there, or you had the name already figured out, but nothing else. It sounded like it was the first time y'all came up with it. But
oh yeah, we hadn't even named it yet. We didn't name the puppy yet. We finally put a name on it.
You finally put a name on it. I love it. TBD. Tell me a little bit about it, and or y'all have any hunts available this fall, or those kind of things?
Yes, sir, we do. We have a few hunts left right now. We don't overhunt our property. That's one.
No, you don't.
We will generally do a deer count and determine, you know, how many deer we're gonna take this year. And this year we're gonna take a few more than what we do in normal years because we just got so many in the upper age range. So
right. Yes, sir. That was real obvious coming on last year when I was there.
Yeah, and so it's got to that point. We got some really nice 7- and 8-year-old deer that time for them to check out and go live somewhere else. But the deer, we've got a few hunts left of that. I couldn't tell you the exact number right now.
Right.
I'll be launching the website on the 15th of this month.
Okay.
And that'll have how many hunts we have left, and we'll have the weekends. Should have the calendar up with the weekends that are already taken. So
perfect. What's going to be that website?
It should be. It's going to be attached to Foley Shotgun Sports, but you should be able to get to it through tbdoutdoors.com.
tbdoutdoors.com. Good. Good. We'll try to publicize that as well too, because for those of you folks who are listening to this, I'll tell you what. If you're used to hunting in the tall timber or that kind of stuff, you're going to be sadly disappointed in terms of not seeing any tall timber, because the country these guys hunt, it is a forest. It is a forest of oaks, but those oaks, for the most part, come up to about your waist. And it is some of the finest and the best deer hunting that can be found anywhere in Texas, and that makes it some of the finest to be found anywhere in the world. And as Kyle was saying, they do hunt some really fantastic property up close to kind of south of Lubbock, I guess is the best description, and some of that sand and shinnery type country. But that sand and shinnery country produces some ungodly nice big deer. And not only that, it produces some of the best tasting venison I've ever had anywhere on top of everything else. So
isn't it amazing how good that is? That stuff is just so good.
It's like a range-fed beef that's a cross between a grown steer and a 40-pound calf. I mean, because it's tender and it's delicious, and oh my God, that's one of those places to go. If they say, hey, you're more than welcome to also shoot a doe, by all means, take whatever they're going to let you take in terms of the does, because you'll be glad you did when it comes time to eat them a little bit later. But that is fantastic country, and I'm so glad y'all are doing that. And
I describe that country like this. It's like if you're headed west on the county road that bisects the property, the right hand side looks like those sand hills of Kansas.
Yes.
And the left hand side looks like the canyons of Arizona.
You're exactly right.
And it's amazing the difference, that's so pretty, and it's I can't believe the difference 150 feet makes sometimes. It's just
or even a shorter distance. I mean, it's like there's an abrupt change right there, and of course both of them have good deer, and of course y'all get a lot of turkey up there, and there's always wild hogs everywhere all over that country. So
yes.
We're not even going to talk about those right now. We'll come back and talk about those some other time.
Yeah. Oh man. I've seen, you're not going to believe this, but we had one big, that we've got those ground-based feeders, and we had one that dug underneath it on the back side of it till it started tipping, and then he got on the front edge of it and pushed up on it and tipped it over to make it.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I couldn't believe how smart that sucker was. But he dumped corn out everywhere. So we thought we had them licked for a while, but then they got smart again. So we'll have to work on that some more.
Yep, that sounds like something like somebody needs to shoot a few more hogs as well too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Cyle, one more thing. How do people learn about Wing and Clay Life? How can they get a copy? How can they subscribe? And then we'll come back and do a little bit more about the hunting side of it as well too. But while I'm thinking about it, how do people subscribe, or how do they get a copy of Wing and Clay Live?
You can get a copy by going to wingandclay.life.
.life. Okay.
.life. Yeah, it's kind of a different website. But wingandclay.life. You can go there and you can there's a way to get to subscribe digitally, or you can get a physical type of subscription. And
Absolutely.
I'm
going to
say the physical subscription is the way to go. I mean subscription. Sorry.
yeah.
The
To me,
tactile feel of the magazine. Yeah, it's really good.
I'm just going to. Somebody may want to look at it digitally, but I'll tell you what. Just to have one of these magazines in your hand and to look at it to where you can truly appreciate the quality of the paper, the quality of everything from the covers, from the outside cover to the backside cover, or the front cover to the back cover. I would strongly recommend that they do that. But what a fabulous publication. I commend you and all the people you have involved in that for just an unbelievably great publication.
And Matt's also got his little conservation book he wrote for kids. I think we can get a copy of that too.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I don't have it handy. I've got it here in my office, it's stuck in between a couple of books over here. But yes, tell people a little bit about that as well too, if you don't mind.
So, Matt Gay is one of my partners in the publishing company, and he wrote a children's book about conservation that is based on the correct science, right?
Yes. And
so he's talking about the first editions is about woodcock and what's happening with their environment, and then there'll be several more come along. But it's written for kids, and it's an excellent book to get for kids to read to kids and to have kids learn to read in and kind of introduce them to conservation too. So you can get that on our website also, and it's just he's very passionate about conservation. He's been on the upland bird conservation stuff for more years than I've probably been alive. Well, actually no, but but he's been out there for a while, and he really firmly believes in doing everything the right way. And if you get a chance to read any of his stuff, you'll see that he's very passionate about it, and he cares about the youth and what they think about the animals as they come along also.
It is a fun book. You're saying it's for kids, but I'll tell you what, I think a lot of adults would benefit from it and will appreciate the artwork in it as well too. I mean,
the illustration was awesome.
Oh my God. I mean, if you didn't buy the book for any other purpose, you should buy it for the illustrations. But the message that is there and the way that it's written is just phenomenal. I can't recommend it any higher than saying everybody ought to have one of these, even if you don't believe in hunting, or if you don't believe it, you'll have a better understanding. But it's just a beautiful book to begin with. And thank you for reminding me about that, because frankly, I had forgotten about it. That is fantastic.
Thank you so much. It's easy to kind of get caught up in other stuff. But, as always, Larry, anytime you need anything, you just holler at me. I'll make sure to try to make it happen.
Man, that I appreciate. What I'm looking forward to is another face-to-face visit where we can sit down and tell some serious hunting stories. It's amazing when because of your family and my connection for many years in South Texas as a biologist down there. I know so many of the families of your side of the families, and I know so many of the properties that you guys hunted, and every time I get together with you and Craig, it just brings back so many memories of the years that I spent down there, and the stories flow very freely. So then I appreciate that part as well too.
Well, we really appreciate you coming, because it's always fun to have you in camp, and I learned so much from you, and I get to laugh and.
Well, it's mutual.
I don't think my jaw healed for about a month after that. I laughed so hard.
Well, the other thing that I truly enjoy is you and Craig together. And I mean, y'all are just amazing. You ought to take your act. I'm going to call it an act. It's not an act, folks. It is real life between two very dear friends who happen to also be kin to each other. But to just listen to y'all go,
we can cut each other up, can't we?
Yeah. I think my sides hurt for a couple of weeks, as I recall, from all the laughing that I did when I was with you guys. So if nothing else, folks, we've talked about the great deer that TBD Outdoors has available, the hunting opportunities, but the food, because a lot of times Kyle's going to be in there in the kitchen cooking, but to listen to the stories, that in itself is worth the price of the admission of the hunt. I'm telling you.
You go to a comedy club and a deer hunt broke out, right?
I think next time what I'm going to do is rather than sit down and record a podcast with you guys, you know, we're sitting here across the table. I think I'm just going to turn the recorder on, and then we'll come back and kind of put it all together. And I think we'll have a bestseller on our hands.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And, you know, Larry, if anybody wants to get in touch with me about coming out to do a hunt, they can always call me too. And if it's okay, I'll give them my phone number and
absolutely. If you'd like to do it, and we'll make sure it's in the show notes. And then too, if somebody's looking, we talked about you doing instructing and that kind of thing with shotguns as well too. So I'll let you give the number. I think I have it, but I'll make sure it gets in the show notes as well. If you'll tell us the number to get.
My number is 817-471-9837. And if I don't answer, please leave me a message. There's times when I can't answer. There's times when our phones don't work if we're out on the ranch. There's places that, you know, as you well know, you know, you're lucky if you get to breathe, much less, you know, get a phone signal. Because you get kind of get off the beaten path up there. If you want to email me, you can email me at foley07@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll make sure we'll get that. It's Foley, FOLEY07@gmail.com. Fantastic. Yes, we'll get that in there too. Kyle, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the visit today. I can't wait to get together with you in person again, and we'll figure out how to do that before too very long. Maybe we'll go see if we can find that blasted hog and turn that feeder over up there somewhere here. Too long.
He's going to have a bounty on him by that time.
I bet he will.
Larry, it's always wonderful to talk to you. I appreciate you very much. And if you need anything, you feel free to give me a holler, and I'll try to make everything happen for you. But I'm gonna get some stuff together, because I'm gonna make you something that I guarantee you've never had before when next time you come up.
Oh my God! Now you created a mystery and make me want to get there that much quicker. It's gonna make me wish my life away again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Craig, if you're listening too, we wish you were with us. But Kyle, thank you so much for being with us. And ladies and gentlemen, look forward to catching up with you before too very long. And I got a feeling we'll probably see Kyle in July at the DFC Summer Expo there at the Gaylord Texan in Grapevine, Texas. And those dates are July 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, and hopefully you'll all be there. And remind everybody, too, that we have our DSC Gala, which is Foundation Gala, on the night of the 25th, I think it is, and we'll have some unbelievable auction items there. Great way to support conservation. So, Kyle, thank you again so very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see y'all around the campfire next week.
DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn has also been brought to you by The Crown Bar in LaGrange, Texas, the Texas Wildlife Association, Double Nickel Taxidermy, and Burnham Brothers Game Calls.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.